How does it feel to be now leading this team and have the likes of Cavendish in there riding for you, Bradley Wiggins?
It's an absolute honour to have a group of guys around me of that pedigree. I mean, I've got Tour de France winners, I've got previous world champions. To have guys like Mark want to commit to this, and I know he put his hand up and said, listen, I really want to be there and try and help Froome win this. That really was, it's touching.
I owe quite a bit, especially to these guys here. You know, the majority of the guys on the team, they rode with me when I won in Copenhagen 2 years ago. So to be able to ride with them and give something back for what they gave to me, it's a big thing.
Chris is the leader, and we're going to be, we'll have a role to play on the day, a bit like with Cav 2 years ago. And we'll just go out there and try and implement that, and then hopefully it will all go to plan and we end up with another world title.
Chris coming off the back of his Tour de France victory. Have you seen him since then? Have you been
No,
able to talk to him about it?
No, not since then, no. No, we've both been away doing our own things, and I've been preparing for this and he's been preparing for this as well, so it's, we've just gone different routes to it.
It's been interesting, the sort of relationship between the two of you since last year in the Tour, and I think it's one of the most talked about relationships in cycling, bizarrely.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you walk into the room and everybody's going to be checking out to see how you're getting on?
I don't know really. I've sort of given up worrying what people think, to be honest. I think it takes too much out of you, it really does.
You know, they've got 2 Tour de France winners on the start line and one who's up for trying to win the bike race, so it's a pretty easy way of going into the race. You know, you've got one way of winning the race and you stick to your job.
Is there a plan B?
Not really, no. No, we'll stick with, we'll go with the one.
Chris wants a hard race, so it's going to be about making that race hard, you know, early on, and trying to deaden the legs of some of the more punchy riders and make it more in favour of Chris, for sure.
So what does that actually mean? What will you be doing?
Riding on the front of the race. I enjoy it, and as long as everyone suffers in my wheel, that's the main thing.
You know, Chris being as he is, he likes to be at the front, and you know, he doesn't like to sit 20 back and float in the wheels and have that sort of stress around him. But I guess I'll be, I don't know, 3rd or 4th guy to sort of pull at the front.
We've got some strong guys for the last lap, so I'll probably do at least the first half, hopefully on the front as last year, and make sure the breakaway doesn't get such an advantage that we can't reel them in by the end.
You know, Brad's obviously going well, and Steve Cummins, so I think they'll be sort of the last 2 around him.
I definitely expect Brad would be there towards the end of the final sort of few laps to be able to either keep me in a really good position at the front of the race, or if we need to make the race harder to try and get rid of some of the sprinters. I think that's where he could come in really useful.
We're going to ride with our hearts, and if you know somebody's got a chance, that's when you ride with your hearts, and I know that I'm going to give everything I can because he's got one of the best shots of anybody of winning.
It is a bit of a gamble. There's a lot of guys who want to be there towards the end of Sunday's race. It's a course that potentially suits climbers, but also a course that suits punchy riders who can get over the climbs and then take it to a bunch sprint. It's going to be really interesting. I've trained really hard for this now. I've spent a block up at altitude trying to get ready for this. And I've got the backing of a really strong team for Sunday, so I'm hoping that come the closing stages of the race, I'll be able to find that sort of opportune moment to make the most of it and try my luck.